Good afternoon, everyone. I am Anna with HTAG, and today we have Nina with Streets Hope joining us. Nina, congratulations on winning the Top 25 Abolitionists in America award. We are excited to hear more about what Streets Hope is doing and what you guys are about and what you guys are doing to combat human trafficking. So to begin our session today, tell us more about Streets Hope and what you guys do.
Sure. Well, thanks for having us, Anna. We're really excited to be awarded and so excited to connect with you all as an organization. So a little bit about Streets Hope. We were founded in 2004. We started doing some direct outreach to women in the Denver area who were going through the commercial sex industry. And so we did a lot of outreach and ministry and referrals for them. In 2007, we did start to acquire a residential facility, and we did open that in 2008. So we've been open for a few years now, and primarily we do serve women that are exiting or escaping the commercial sex industry or sex trafficking.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys do a lot, focus mainly on rehabilitation. Am I correct?
That's correct, yes.
Perfect. And Dean, can you explain a little more about what the motivation behind starting Streets Hope was all about and why this particular organization began in the first place?
Sure. So back in 2004 to 2008, we started to notice just all of the needs of the population that we were serving. So not only were the women homeless, or not only were they, working in prostitution or sex trafficking industry, not only did they have a drug addiction or mental health issues, it was really a combination of all of those items. And it really made us kind of realize just how specific this population was and how much services were needed for them. A lot of our girls that we do serve, they started into the commercial sex industry or in sex trafficking from 12 to 14. While we only serve women 18 and older, we do get kind of that, the back end of things. So they started at a young age and now they're trying to escape that piece and don't necessarily have the resources to do so. I think one of the biggest needs that we were aware of several years ago is that the Colfax corridor in Denver is a fairly long strip, a long street in Colorado, and prostitution virtually happens anywhere all along West Colfax, through the downtown area, all the way down East Colfax, and so it's kind of our prime corridor for sex work, and so we did find a lot of minors being in the industry as well, and under Colorado law, that's considered sex trafficking if under a pimp or a trafficker, and so we just saw the huge need for services, so we started to do that outreach and see how we could help them, and eventually turned into a residential program and a non-residential program, meeting all of those different kind of needs that they had. So.
Yeah, and I'm interested to hear more about what you guys do on the residential end as well as the non-residential end.
Sure. So residentially, we can hold up to 8 women at any given time in our facility. That's what we're licensed for. Non-residentially, we can see up to 5 clients at any time. And typically, we always have a wait list and we're always at capacity, which is great. So our services are definitely being utilized. Items that we offer are intensive case management. So a woman will work with a case manager and come up with an individualized treatment plan, focusing on goals all through her life, whether it's physical goals, financial goals, mental health, reconnecting with relationships, things like that. They'll create a treatment plan initially and then revise it every 3 months, so that goals are kind of continuously met and up to date. Along with case management, we provide group counseling. So we are fortunate to have a residential facility, and we do pretty much everything on site. So we'll have pro bono therapists come in and do group therapy, anything from trauma recovery and empowerment to powerful woman group, to addictions group, to boundaries and communication, just a lot of the different pieces that they're struggling with oftentimes.
Perfect.
Along with the group counseling piece, we offer individual therapy. So usually it's an individual trauma therapist that'll be paired with our ladies, and they'll start to work on kind of those deep issues, whether it's trauma from childhood or trauma through their trafficking situation or sex work, or trauma in later adulthood. Those are kind of our three components that we address. Along with that, we also do help with job and educational exploration. We do provide a mentor, and then we also provide continuing care for when they graduate and they transition out. They can still come back and receive services. Non-residential clients are a little different. So instead of that year length in the program, they have anywhere from 4 to 6 months. And typically it's a woman that has stable housing or that has maybe some sort of family support and just needs to come in for things like group, trauma therapy, and case management.
And how long after a woman graduates your program do you guys still try to connect with her or still provide her services?
Continuing care can be as long as they need it. So we are here to offer them support however long that is for them. So if it's 3 months, that's great. If it's maybe a year, that's great too. The exciting thing is that we've seen lots of success with our programming model. And so currently we actually have 2 overnight staff members who are former graduates of the program. So they've, stepped up to the leadership plate and they're able to give back to the ladies now. And it's great because they have that peer mentorship ability that maybe us as staff, we might not know what they're struggling with at all times, but the ladies here can definitely speak to that. So
that's awesome to hear that some graduates are definitely stepping into that role and able to give back in that capacity. So that's exciting to hear and very encouraging and awesome. So great work on that end. And I'm curious to hear how you personally got inspired to join the movement against modern day slavery.
Sure. I actually started at Streets Hope about 2 years ago. I started working here with a really big interest in victim services and specifically female victims of crime. Honestly, when I started out with Streets Hope, it didn't seem like it would necessarily be a good fit. Little did I know just how much these women have been victimized over and over and over again, and not just being, in the sex trafficking piece, but also in the commercial sex industry. There's just that scary potential for them to be victimized, whether it's sexual assault, physical abuse, rape, all of those different pieces of the puzzle. And so, once I started to get familiar with the population, it was such a good connection, and it really touched my heart and just made me want to do more for all the ladies that we serve. So got my master's in nonprofit management and started to revamp our programming, and it's just been kind of growing ever since then. So I definitely have a heart for the women that we serve, and any survivor of sex trafficking. So.
Well, it's amazing to see your passions for this issue, so thank you for your continued work in that. And I'm sure it'll be exciting to see how you continue to serve this population, so thank you for your work. Would you tell us, you may have touched on this a little bit, but would you tell us what the main object or goal of Streets Hope is?
Sure. So we like to measure success a little bit differently. So rather than just saying a woman graduates from our program, we actually have a logic model in which we measure what success looks like for them. So perhaps it is reconnecting with their children. Perhaps it's starting to work on a GED that they never got a chance to do. Perhaps it's applying for housing and getting stable housing. Perhaps it's something like stabilizing, mental, physical, and emotional health. So we have different areas in which we measure kind of what that looks for, and each success is different to each woman. So it's nice to see, how they leave the program so much differently than how they came into the program. And oftentimes that's with confidence and the leadership ability and that just spark for life that they didn't have before. So.
Great. And what would you say has been the biggest success for Streets Hope as an organization, or the one thing that you guys as an organization are most proud of?
I think the one thing we're most proud of is that we've been approached by similar organizations, not only in Colorado, but across a few different states, about how to duplicate or replicate our program model. Since we are the only residential program in Colorado that serves adult women coming out of the sex industry, we have a very specific, obviously, population, but also a very specific program model. And we're just blessed to be able to see kind of the fruits of our labor and to see all of those successes and those, changed lives, which is really exciting. But it's nice for us because now we're looked at as a model for services for other organizations. So that's something we're really proud of.
What would you attribute that success to?
Honestly, last year in 2012, we really revamped our program model. And so we looked at all the different struggles that the women had, and not just during our years of outreach, the first 4 years, but as they started to live in community and as they started to move through the program and as they started to transition out, kind of what were the different and unique challenges and obstacles they faced. And we really tailored the program to meet those obstacles and help them kind of face those challenges head on. So part of that was implementing a more structured approach. So we do have group therapy on site 5 days a week. We do have life skills on site. We have individual therapy sessions on site. We do everything kind of here in our safe house, which is great. But along with that structure, we've made it so that they can continue their care and they don't feel like there's that scary piece of transitioning out or a failure of success when they leave the program. So I think really just making our program model just more specific to the clients was what really helped us. And we've seen it just be so successful in all we've done.
Great. And is there any aspect of the organization that you as a staff are currently working on renovating or updating to better serve your population?
After the revamp kind of looked at our program model and our methods for evaluation. And it also looked at our clinical assessment piece. So a lot of the programming pieces are really in place. And I think this year is just the time for us to kind of let the community know who we are and what we do and how we serve these women. So recently we went through a rebranding process and did, the new website, the new logo, all of that. And so we're really excited just to start out this year with a fresh look and the new program model and just to serve all the ladies that we can in the Denver area. Like I said, we're always having a wait list, which is a plus and a minus. It's the sad thing is that we do need to exist to serve these women, but the positive is that we're always full and we're always, helping them. So
great, and you guys are doing such an amazing job meeting the needs of these ladies. And it definitely sounds like you guys are impacting your current clients' needs. How has the response been? And could you expand on that a little bit more?
We've actually had a really great response from them. We are fortunate to have, the overnight staff that's here, as well as our daytime staff. And so when they're struggling with whether it's, wanting to return to, their perpetrator for some reason, or whether it's wanting to relapse because of a drug addiction, or whether they're just not sure if they can do it, it's nice because we do have that staff support. And it, no matter what time, I was actually overnight staff previously, and no matter what time, we're always here to kind of talk to them and encourage them and to be a source of support for them. And so I think that's the biggest thing that they've given to us as feedback, is that they appreciate the support, and also that it feels like a home environment here. So it's not necessarily a facility or the white walls that you would think of, but it's definitely a home environment, and it feels warm and supportive and caring. So,
and I'm sure that's definitely important in their recovery process. So it's exciting to hear that you guys have been able to provide and meet their needs spot on. You guys obviously impact the lives of victims, but how do you guys impact the lives of everyday Americans in your community through your work?
We try to raise awareness in our community. Our goal is to provide that outreach and that awareness to our community members in Colorado, whether it's through, church outreach presentations or different presentations we do for school groups or small groups or different things. But we just want to inform the community that this issue is happening in Denver, and it is so close to home. I think that the most common misconception is that people think that, sex trafficking doesn't happen in Denver. It just happens internationally. And so just bringing that piece of awareness is so huge for us, and helping them to realize, no, it does happen here, and here's what you can do, to combat it or to help against the fight. So awareness is a huge piece for us.
And what, aside from presentations, is there any other aspects of your community education and awareness that you guys do?
We've actually partnered with several of our coalitions in the Colorado area. So with law enforcement, similar organizations that do this work, things like FBI, we've partnered with them to create coalitions. And so, networking with them to let them know kind of what we do and what population we serve and what the issue is, and how they can assist in the fight as well. We also host events as far as awareness twice a year. We just had our last one in February, and so we screened the film Trade of Innocence, and we had an expert panel discussion on the issue of sex trafficking in Denver. We had about 500 participants.
Oh, wow, that's a great turnout.
Yeah, we were expecting about half of that, and so it was just amazing to see that the community was so interested and did have, such a heart for learning about what this issue was and how to kind of address it. So.
And how has the response been from your local community through your educational outreach?
It's been very positive. I think the heartbreaking thing is that, it's kind of a shock that it is happening here, but once they kind of grasp that, they're really excited to get involved. So whether it's as a financial partner or as a volunteer, a mentor, providing pro bono services, or even just saying, well, hey, I want to introduce Streets Hope to my small group at church or my small group of friends or my coworkers. Can you do a presentation for us? Or can we come and, tour the facility, things like that. I think it's just constantly raising their awareness, and that's been great.
What are the tools that Streets Hope utilizes to obtain the feedback from your community?
We get a lot of verbal feedback, honestly. We're a very small organization in the sense of, staff, financial, all of that, and we're still fairly young. And so we like to keep kind of an open door policy as far as, folks in the community that would like to see different things happen, or if they have, questions or concerns, or if they have that positive feedback. And so we really opened up the dialogue during our trafficking panel to just kind of talk about what other ways that they could get involved and kind of what they thought about the issue, as well as that coalition providing kind of that specific request from the community as far as what do we need to get this problem, reduced.
What have you as an organization found to be the most challenging in your fight against human trafficking?
Most challenging, I think, is honestly when we have a woman that we, a typical case. So maybe she'll get kind of rescued out of a situation of sex trafficking by things like FBI or Denver police. She'll be placed somewhere temporarily. She'll come into our program, just really excited and trying to do something different with her life. I think the biggest struggle for us is when she maybe returns to the situation or goes back to the pimp or the trafficker. I think that's just heart-wrenching for us, is that we would never want to see a woman return to that situation. I heard at a presentation that it does take approximately 7 attempts to leave any sort of trafficking situation, which when you think about it, that's really scary, about how much control and power and manipulation that they have over someone. And so I think that's our biggest just challenge and heartbreak, is seeing that woman return.
Definitely. That is not as hopeful sometimes as we would like, but it's definitely a realistic issue, one that I think all of us, regardless of organization or region of the country, can definitely work on. Is there a current project or event that you at Streets Hope are working on that we at HTAG or viewers can be of assistance of or to?
We are actually hosting our annual fundraiser in July, July 27th at Redline Art Gallery in Denver, Colorado. It's an exhibit that displays a traveling exhibit that's titled Not Exactly, and so it talks about the homeless community in Denver and how they're not exactly homeless, but they're staying at a friend's house, or they're not exactly homeless, but they're motel jumping. And so our goal is to bring awareness that so many of the clients and the ladies that we see coming into the program are homeless in one way or another. So either they're, transient or motel jumping or staying with a friend here and there, but just bringing the realization that our women do engage in things like survival sex. as a homeless woman in Denver, and that is one of the easiest ways to get a woman lured into some sort of trafficking, sex trafficking situation or commercial sex industry situation. And so bringing the awareness that kind of homelessness and the sex for sale piece kind of go hand in hand in the Denver community. So we're really excited to have that exhibit as part of the program. So that'll be July 27th at Redline.
And are there any ways that people in the Denver area can get involved with assisting you in that?
Yeah, we're actually looking for volunteers for the event. Last year we held it at the same art gallery and had so many fabulous volunteers, that were helping out with food and with silent auction and just greeting folks and helping us set up and tear down. So yeah, we would love to have volunteers for the event. And if anyone's interested, they can contact information at streetshope.org.
Perfect, thank you. And lastly, to wrap up our session today, what do you suggest to viewers, both in the Denver area, the Colorado area, and then nationwide? What do you suggest to them that they can do to raise awareness about human trafficking?
I think the more that we talk about it, the less shock that this issue will have and the less impact that this issue will have. So if we can educate, our churches, our schools, our communities, our small groups about this issue of sex trafficking, I feel like that can only help us in reducing it. The more people that know that it's happening, the more likely you are to recognize either someone that has been trafficked or know, how to help someone that has been, or just ways to get involved with places like Streets Hope and, in your local communities. So I think that awareness piece is huge, and just being educated on kind of what that looks like and not going with maybe the stereotypes that we think of or the common misconceptions that we think of, but just really educating yourself and trying to combat it in your own unique way. So whether that's volunteering, like I said, or donating, or just raising awareness with your group of friends, it's all so helpful to the cause. So.
And how would you suggest people go about educating themselves on this issue?
There are lots of different resources online. I know that in Denver specifically, we have LCHT, which is the Lab to Combat Human Trafficking. They have lots of great statistics on their website specific to Colorado and then nationwide as well. So that's a great resource to start with. We also have Praxis, Praxus, in the Denver area, which targets teen homelessness and teens that are victims of trafficking as well. Along with our website, there are a few other organizations and information on that as well about kind of who we serve and what our population looks like and kind of what those unique challenges are. And that's www.streetshope.org. So those are obviously all Colorado-based, but just doing a search, in your Denver or in your local area, just kind of finding out more information about who's doing this work and kind of what it looks like, I think is very helpful.
Great. Well, thank you for all the wonderful information that you have provided. We are excited about what you guys are doing and all the amazing things that you are doing to help rehabilitate victims as well as educate your local community. So congratulations on all that you are doing. For more information on Streets Hope, please visit their website at www.streetshope.org, or you can always visit HTAG's website at www.htag.org to learn more about Streets Hope and their amazing work. Thank you for tuning in today and becoming more educated and aware about this particular issue. I'm Anna, and I'm an abolitionist.